This video is going to be a brief overview on the Saphymo SPP2 gamma scintillator. Compared to its much older brother that was made around 1954-1955, the Precision Model 111 gamma scintillator, the Saphymo SPP2 is a much more ruggedized heavy-duty version. Both meters do have the readout at the end of the gun assemblies. The main differences between the SPP2 and the 111 and 111B series is the SPP2 reads in counts per second, and the 111 series registers in milliroentgens per hour. The main detecting component within the gun is either going to be a Thorn EMI or a Hamamatsu photomultiplier tube. Typically, these tubes are mated up with a 40mm sodium iodide thallium doped crystal. It's very similar to the exact same arrangement that is found within the 111 and the 111B. Sensitivity in both of these models are very close to being identical. The SPP2 registering in counts per second has a range selection from 150 counts per second all the way to 15,000 counts per second. At the end of the power supply box is a chart for converting counts per second to milliroentgens per hour. And directly below that is a volume control for the audio signaling function. The unit's now turned on, and the typical background in the shop is between 50 and 75 counts per second. What I have over here is about a 60-year-old TG77 spark gap tube, which contains cesium-137. It's not very active. It's just barely above background, but it's enough for the detector to give a small reading. So we'll go ahead and put this down here at the end. And we got a little bit. Let's try moving this up a little bit closer. So you do have a reading. One of the unique functions with this type of arrangement compared to the 111Bs is the audio signaling function. And with a slight adjustment, it starts giving you a little bit of audio. Very similar to a metal detector. When the source gets closer to the sensing end of the detector, it'll give a reading. And you can turn down the sensitivity of the audio, so as you're out prospecting or doing whatever you're doing, looking for an orphan source or anything else, the audio will not kick in until you get to a certain set threshold limit. And for the last test, I've got a Spectrum Techniques check source. One is a cesium-137 and the other is a cobalt-60. This is definitely a little bit more active, still very low, but more active than the TG77 spark gap tube. So I've got the audio threshold set up a little higher, and I've got the range selector up to 1500 counts per second. So currently it's registering pretty low. We'll go ahead and move this closer to the end. So that can get a little annoying after a while, but it's one of the nice things about having a volume control. So in conclusion, the SPP2 is actually a pretty nice ruggedized unit. It's very heavy duty. It does have a belt attachment, so you can put it on your hip and walk around and go prospecting if that's what you want to do. Not unlike the Precision 111 that's pictured here to the right. I will say that since the company that made these things stopped production just about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years at the most, there's not too many of them on the used market. They're also kind of overpriced when you do find them. I've noticed that they do average around $800. And so with that being said, in comparison, the 111 and the 111Bs, which you can buy for probably between $80 and $125 in unrefurbished condition might be the better deal, with about $150 of investment, replacing the capacitors, fixing some crusted wires, and putting in a new sodium iodide crystal, and with upgraded electronics so you can operate them off of modern day batteries. You can get the exact same performance with an old 111 or 111B. Hopefully the SPP2s start hitting the market a little bit more as these things get retired, because $800 is a little steep. I would say at best they're worth maybe $250, $300, which is still a far cry from how much these things actually went for when they were brand new. So how was that for a shocker? Yes, you read that right. $14,500 essentially. But you know what? That is actually not an out of the ordinary price. A lot of modern day radiation and gamma spectroscopy equipment for public safety and for remediation purposes do generally go up that high. It's a little bit of a scam if you want to look at it that way, because the amount of componentry that goes into building these things is probably less than $1,000. The markup is just huge, but it is a monopoly. There's not too many manufacturers that make these things, so they can charge the price. And almost 99% of these sales end up going to deep pocket government agencies, and governments will pay whatever they want to pay to get the items that they want. It's not a far cry from the old $1,000 screwdriver or $500 hammer that we used to read about in the 1970s. So keep on the lookout for an SPP2. Hopefully you'll see a few on eBay or some of the auction sites. If you got any questions about this model, feel free to post and ask questions in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video.